Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Real Madrid Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. Jota. And I gotta acknowledge that I was very, hesitant about doing this video. Because on one hand, what my heart says is that, okay, say it, just say it. And on the other hand, what my brain says is like, no, just hold back, man. Don't say what you're thinking because it's not the moment, it's not the time. And I know, and I gotta be honest at this point. I know that y'all are very happy, very excited to see the next Real Madrid with Carlo Ancelotti. I know that you all are very, excited, happy for seeing him back. And me too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm okay with that. I really like Carlo Ancelotti. In my opinion, he's a, like we say in French, a chevalier. Is very noble person, very humble, very kind person, regardless the team he's coaching to. But he's a very, very professional, top professional, very good person, very good coach and all the stuff. So that being said, let me speak a little bit longer regarding to the presentation, because right after the presentation, my first impressions, my first feelings were really, intriguing. I mean, I don't know if that is exactly the word, but what I was feeling, it was like, I don't like this. I'm happy, but at the other hand, at the same time, I'm like, no, this is not going to be good. Carlo Ancelotti, I'm referring to the moment when Carlo Ancelotti was asked about some of the players, and he said what he wanted said. He was pretty clear at that point. He didn't try to dodge any single question. He was asked about Sergio Ramos, he was asked about Marcelo, Isco, and he was asked about as well about Hazard and Gareth Bale and their future in Real Madrid. So I was thinking that this next Real Madrid, regardless who was going to be the coach, it was a completely, it was going to be kind of turning point in this decade. We were going to build up from the beginning a project for the next 10 years. But what was my surprise when I heard to Carlo Ancelotti saying things like, for example, that he will count on players like Marcelo, like Isco Alarcón, like, Hazard, Gareth Bale, all these players who, in the mind of all los Madridistas all around the world, are players that, in my opinion, are completely over in Real Madrid, are done. The only thing we should do with them is just go ahead and put them in the market. That's it. There's nothing we have to do about that. There's nothing else we have to do about that. Nothing. These players, for different reasons, multiple injuries, out of shape, bad behavior, poor choices, for different reasons, these guys, in my opinion, have undermined themselves in Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? So these guys don't deserve anymore to wear this jersey. So the first thing we should do, the first thing, in my opinion, Carlo Ancelotti should do, is to put him on the market and be clear and say, hey guys, I love you guys, I like you, we had great times 6 years ago, 7 years ago, but not anymore. This is a total different time, this is a completely different moment. Now I am the coach of Real Madrid and I have to lead a new project for the next decade. And of course, I have to do some things different, in a different way. But what you cannot say the very first day in the press conference is go out to the public, go out to the press conference and confirm that you will count on them When we have seen players like Marcelo Vieira and Isco Alarcón struggling with the weight day in, day out, every single season since over the last 3-4 seasons. I mean, it was not a coincidence that Santiago Solari put him on the bench when he considered that these guys were completely out of shape and there were much better players ahead of them that really deserved by far to be in the lineup. You know what I'm saying? The last 3 years of these guys have been a complete disaster. Have been a complete mess. From a, soccer player standpoint or whatever you want to call it, have been a mess. And what about Gareth Bale and Eden Hazard? Gareth Bale is not a soccer player. Gareth Bale, in his mind, is a former soccer player who used to play back in the day. Although the great season he has done in Tottenham, scoring 16 goals, which is also true, let me tell you that this guy has been so disrespectful with Real Madrid that he really doesn't deserve to get back to Madrid. Even to sign out the contract or rip it off or whatever you want to call it. He should stay in London and we should email to them the contract to rip it off or cancel or whatever you want to call it. But he doesn't even deserve to get back to Madrid. And as far as Hazard, it's pretty much the same. This guy, since the very beginning, since the very first day, showed up in the training ground completely out of shape. He hasn't been a real top-notch professional. He has been completely out of weight all this time. Plus, the multiple injuries he has been going through have made him one of the worst players we have signed in the last 5 years or 10 years. 2 seasons waiting for Hazard. 2 seasons. 2 blank seasons from Eden Hazard. And what are you expecting now? That he will be back? That he will be better? That he can do it better? Do you really think it's going to happen from Eden Hazard? I don't think so. I don't think so. So that's why I wanted to explain you all in this video what my concerns, what my biggest concerns are when it comes to Carlo Ancelotti. And that's why my option, my choice was Antonio Conte. Because this was the right moment. This was the time where we were supposed to build up a new team for the next decade. And that includes to the youngsters, that includes to the low knees, that includes new signings, new players, and of course, a bunch of departures of players that have to quit and have to leave Real Madrid this year for different reasons. But this was the year. This was supposed to be the season. This was supposed to be the moment. You know what I'm saying? But didn't happen. And what happened is that now we have a coach in the similar line to Zinedine Zidane, very politically correct, who is not going to go against the club at any moment, and he will not create a single problem, the most few little tiny problem in the locker room of Real Madrid. And if that includes to count on players who are completely out of shape and are not professionals, that is how that is going to happen. I mean, that is going to happen. I'm pretty sure of that. There's no doubt about that for me. So I don't know, guys. I wanted to share with you these concerns. So now I would like to know your thoughts about that, about the return of Carlo Ancelotti, about his plan, about his words, the presentation, and all the stuff. So now let me know your thoughts about that. Just comment in the section below, and of course subscribe to my channel, Real Madrid Hub.